and one slave and enough cows and other things to eat for a year. So,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. And so in recent times, they said that, oh, well, an ounce of gold will only buy you, a good suit. That's all changing now. So we're not only going back to historical ratios between gold and silver, which used to be 15 to 1, 12 to 1, but that's going to shift. Everybody's going to be just floored because all the time that our data has been showing $600 an ounce per ounce of silver, it's also been showing this real huge reduction in that gold to silver ratio as things proceed from that point on. So the $600 an ounce silver is not a price point to sell at because price is meaningless under those conditions. It is now. Right. But rather, that is a temporal marker. Once you start seeing that the dollar is degraded to the point where an ounce of silver is fetching 600, then shortly thereafter, we're going to start seeing silver come down to maybe 1-to-1 ratio with gold on a global planetary scale. This will be because of the basically this same awakening that's furthering the political process and eventually will further the collapse of the powers that were, is going to produce a planetary need for gold and silver on a level that we haven't really even conceived of. So, and also the silver's been used up in a way that's been hidden from us. There just isn't as much as there used to be.
And in addition to that, China is buying up gold and silver, especially gold, like there's no tomorrow. They're encouraging all of their people to buy it.
Well, especially silver, actually. The Chinese people have always had a relationship to silver that's been very special. The lunar metal, the moon metal, and they've been. And now with their new little ETF thing, that may be the derivative problem that causes the COMEX collapse and this sort of thing. Now, our work shows here that we're going to get back into release language around March 25th. So, and that release language is going to run from then until late October. And so it's going to be quite the debacle. So if it's going to be like the WikiLeaks, then it's going to be like a huge increase in WikiLeaks sort of stuff because it runs so long. It's not merely 2 months. We're talking multiple months. So the March 25th period, I think, is probably when we'll start seeing some of the silver stuff come out, either with the big rush that shows the lines on TV of everybody standing in the coin shops trying to buy silver, or the very rapid collapse of some of the economic system. Unfortunately, it doesn't augur well for food either, because we've had terrible weather, we've had collapse of growing systems, we've had a huge increase in the need for oil relative to pumping out flooded fields, all of this kind of thing. So food costs are going to go through the roof. Going to get seriously ugly.
I heard that one of the people at one of those major banks that, the evil empire banks, is actively buying up actual futures of food. I mean, actual food.
Yeah, agricultural commodities. Yeah, I've been contacted by some people that claim to work for the morgue even, and way up there, and that's what they're saying, that the karmic debt is such. The one guy is saying he's converting all of this. Well, just today, curiously, I got a email from a guy I used to work with at a large unnamed software company to the north of me here, and he finally wised up, and he took he's a career guy with this major software company. He took all of his 401k, converted it to cash, and it was going to go and try and buy silver. So 20 years worth of retirement he took out of the 401k system, and has just taken the hit on the penalty, and it's going to convert it to silver because the dollar is just crashing so fast.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the dollar is basically, I hate to say it, but it's worthless. It's just a piece of paper.
We're bankrupt. 43 or 45 states, can't pay their bills. Municipal bonds going belly up.
The thing is, we're in such denial that, as you said, this is going to hit so fast, it'll be like a car hitting a brick wall, and it'll just be overnight probably that this will be, everybody will realize oh, wait a minute, my money's in the bank, I've got to pull it out. And by the time that all happens in slow motion, we'll be watching this train wreck, it's
car after car after car piles up. And
it's going to be quite a sight. So I I think that it's wise to to invest in take delivery on precious metals and have some real assets, or buy land or something that's tangible, but especially, as you said, those items. In your report, is there anything that you haven't mentioned in the report that you see on the horizon that might be coming up to intrigue us or bite us in the ass?
Well, there's a couple of nasties that are coming on up relative to the militaries around the world as part of the general awakening. So I don't suspect we'll be in Afghanistan nearly as long as Clinton et al. Do. Something that wasn't in the report, but I find personally interesting, is Clinton hauling back all of the ambassadors. Think of what that means. Never before have they done it. It's not like getting, well, it's kind of, to a certain extent, it has the same logistics involved as getting everybody together in a high school for an assembly. Okay, it disrupts everything. You've got to really be sure that you want to do that. You don't usually do them on a whim. The fact that we've never done it before shows you how disruptive it is. So, and then you have to ask, okay, with all the modern communications, why a giant face-to-face meeting? What's being communicated at that meeting that they couldn't just put in a cable or, a telephone call or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. That got me too. Curious.
Yeah. Now, the good news about that is that you're dealing with ambassadors and consuls who usually get their positions by bribery, and so are not usually staunch civil service types who know how to keep their mouths shut. So I suspect we'll get some leaks out of this fairly soon. And the more shocking the news, I would expect the faster it'll leak out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned in your report that there's a general that has some things to say pretty soon. I don't think
we'll see. Yeah,
you will see. But one thing I've noticed is that when you pick out a particular person, with certain characteristics, those hits are right on the money.
That's because of the way that those actually work. Because we have a tendency to scrub out personality and all this kind of stuff. So when it bubbles up, we really pay attention to it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. There's another question. Let's see if we can get this one in before we have to wrap it up. This person's asking about the recent tipping point having some effect or relationship with a site in Northern California, and that this would become visible sometime in February. And he wants to know if this site has become visible yet.
We don't have the linguistics. I've been looking for that. No, we haven't seen the linguistics on that hit the mainstream media yet. If it did, I would start talking about some other details relative to that. So, February isn't over, and I'm still waiting on that.
Well, yes, right.
And we might even be a few days off. It might be the first few days of March before we see it, but it's going to be really interesting, I think.
Well, I do remember you talking about an underground operation that was going on in Hollywood.
Right, and this is somehow connected to the major banking debacles that are going to be exposed over this whole thing, and somehow this is cross-connected to the Irish and what they do both in about 30 or 40 days and then in June. So I think the Irish are going to be to the planetary awakening relative to the global security state, the hidden shadow government. I think they are going to be to that what we just saw with the Egyptians.
Wow.
Somehow.
Let's hope. Well, one last question from Lynn. I thought this would be a good way to kind of segue out.
Yeah.
She wanted to know what gives you hope and gets you out of bed every day.
Well, what gets me out of bed every day is all the damn chores I got to do. What gives me hope is that I've got coffee and pie to get through.
All right, there you have it, folks. That's your answer. Chores.
That's it. Yep.
And my favorite.
You know the old saying, by the way. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, and then after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, do dishes, scrub windows, mop floors.
I've been coming to that realization that that's about all there is.
You got it. Yep. The more you know, the more work you've got ahead of you.
Absolutely, and the harder it gets.
Yeah, don't you know it? Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're an old fart living in the mountains.
There you go, yeah, or under the trees like I am.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's get your websites before we have to sign off, and where people can find your.
People can go to halfpasthuman.com and pick up reports there, or find the. If you look over on the right-hand side is where I have all these articles that I write and post occasionally. You can also read about the process we've been through, both off my site and on George Uhr's site. His is urbansurvival.com.
Yeah, he's got a terrific site, and you both kind of work in tandem, so I kind of get my daily information from his daily column, which is very funny and pithy and very intuitive and very enlightened and very funny.
Yeah. And he's another old fart out in the wilderness. He's just out in Texas.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Now, a quick question for you here, since you have so many people that are following your work and that just want to hear from you. Where will you be chatting next? Where we'll be able to hear you on the radio and so on?
I just got done talking with Suzanne Toro, so she'll post it on her site. This was just the other day.
All right.
And then I have some. Sorry to say, I've been posting it on my site fairly disciplined, keeping it over on the left-hand side there, a listing of everything. But I've got another interview on the 15th and then another one on the 19th.
Great. And, of course, this show will be archived probably within the next day or two, and you are free to upload it and, put it on your site and so on and so forth.
Okay, sounds good.
Wonderful.
Sounds good.
Cliff, as always, it's an experience.
Yeah, for both of us. Imagine living it.
I just love talking to you. You're just terrific. So keep up the great work.
Thanks a lot. Yep. Pie's up.
Lots of pie.
Yep.
All
Talk to you later.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.